5 seconds remaining.
Destroy the throne and then they lose, or then you win. That is the goal. It seems pretty simple. Can they do that here in game 2? Because if they don't, they're going to go to the lower bracket. Haven't experienced that yet in a while. Let's find out what is going to happen in game 2 of EG OG. It is time for the draft.
Remaining.
This is where the next match is going to be determined. We're about to start the draft in game 2 here. EG versus OG. What are you guys expecting to see in this one?
I think for EG, follow the same formula. I really like the way that, Sin mentioned it at the end of the cast, how he loved the way they set up their lanes and they played super aggressive throughout the game. I think that's definitely a key factor for them going into this next one versus OG, because that just looked super good, right? They just took over the whole game because they kept making those aggressive plays.
Or pick stronger lane heroes. I was a real question mark when they last picked Invoker against the Lina too. And there's an Earth Spirit roaming. And the silence, they weren't that great too. The PA is pretty weak. 3-5 is pretty weak, so it was a kind of a question mark for me.
Ooh, it looks like we have same band so far, so this is always fun to see. Are they going to do something different? Are they going to stick with the same heroes? One thing I feel like I see if Enchantress does make it through is they pick heroes that actually can kill her.
Yes.
They pick magic nukers, that kind of a thing, but OG did themselves no favors at all, as Tsunami showed in the last segment. They didn't have ways to kill her. And as a result, all their early movements just were completely counteracted, and it made the stomp so much harder.
Yeah, I definitely agree with Febby. Just pick some stronger lanes. I think Shadow Demon was ignored, right? That was one hero that made it through the entire draft without being touched because they opened up with the Grimstroke, so EG didn't feel like they had to go for it. They wanted the Crystal Maiden. So yeah, SD, one of the few series that we actually see it just wasn't touched.
Now, it was banned last game. I don't believe it was.
I think they banned ET.
Yeah, they banned ET.
So they're like having some... They're baiting the Enchantress pick, I think.
Now they're also making sure that they can get themselves ET too, right? They're like, EG, you have to ban it, otherwise we get Alchemist.
Yeah.
Right? They're switching the formula up a little bit. So they're forced to ban that out because of it. So now OG can get that edge himself. Yep.
I mean, it's definitely more of a comfort pick for them. It's something they've been picking consistently for Seb in the offlane, and it's putting the strong hero in their hands.
Yeah, and like I said in the first game, DOTA seems like the only 5 that's really comfortable on the Enchantress.
And this right here already, you're talking about ways to kill Enchantress, right? Elder Titan, a decent amount of magic damage, also a big amplification. Mirana, high magic damage if you are able to get on top, and good combos.
And another thing that Mirana's been really effective at so far this tournament is just like stomping games with really effective rotations and good disable setups, basically. One disable into a 3 to 5 second stun, that's almost always going to be a killed hero. And as long as they can fill out the rest of their lineup with a lot of other stun setups, EG might be able to just stomp the lanes kind of similar to last game.
Just gonna go for their Earthshaker here, the way to disrupt like those type of combo plays. So surprised, yeah. Shadow Demon's just not gonna be touched, not even going for the save, which you do see a lot of times versus like the Mirana.
Yeah, it's very rare actually that I feel like Mirana gets picked well SD still in the pool because it is such a good counter there. But they let it through.
Yep.
It is a really good hero with the Enchantress. It covers the Enchantress' weaknesses, which is the lack of team fight. Sure, Enchantress does have a lot of damage, but it lacks lockdown and the big AoE control, which Earthshaker provides.
And also potentially interrupt the Elder Titan combos, possibly stunning Mirana at the right time could help a lot. Drop a fissure when she needs to throw her arrow, for example. Those kinds of things could be a solution as well.
It's really less likely, but I think it's pretty cool to see some Sumer Mirana too, because I know he's a beast on their hero.
Yeah, right. Both drafts are kind of flexible right now at this point. Like you said, OG, they could be playing the Enchantress. They could move it around if they want to choose to do so. DET is probably locked as like a 5 position, but we have seen Crit also play it. So 4/5s, Mirana also kind of flexible. So
it's probably a 5 ET Mirana for them.
That's what I would imagine, right? That's what they're thinking as well too, right? Banning out that Sand King. Taking out that easy setup. Also that high magic damage hero.
Yeah, that's true. And with Veil as well. If you pair ET with a common Veil builder, the amount of magic damage you're doing is massive, a lot more than even normal. So,
which is Enchantress's weakness. Enchantress is really fragile to magical damage.
And it takes out a team fighter too, right? Like the Sand King provides quite a bit, so that's why they're looking to ban that one out.
Ember Spirit getting banned by Evil Geniuses. Very good hero for jumping around the team fight. Also, pretty possible to avoid things like arrow setups sometimes, because if you have even a tiny fraction of a second where you aren't stunned, you can dodge arrows and dodge other abilities. So, would be a little bit of a headache for Elder Titan to defend against it.
Getting on top of these heroes can be pretty easy as an Ember Spirit too. Like Elder Titan, I play a lot of the hero. You just get jumped on instantly. You get rooted in the middle of your stomp animation. It messes with you. Mirana, same thing. You get rooted. You can't leap the whole time. It's a long duration lockdown. Frustrating hero to play against for sure if you do have an ET or Mirana.
Evil Geniuses turn to ban.
Kunkka, the next ban. Very common setup hero with Mirana as well. We saw a lot of teams successfully use that combo just because it gives you the easiest setup ever.
I wonder what kind of damage hero EG is gonna pick. I assume like S4 is going to play some AoE magical damage control hero, which can kill the Enchantress.
What are you thinking, like a Tiny or something?
5 seconds remaining.
Too early to tell?
Yeah, I think it's too early to tell. Tiny, I feel like Tiny's a bit too single target as well.
What about Tidehunter? Tidehunter was like first phase ban in the Vici LGD series earlier today, but we haven't seen either of these guys touch it yet. Do you think something like that would be useful here?
Tide is pretty cool. It can like stop the Earthshaker from getting his combos off with the Ravage, but I assume like if they do pick Tide, they need more damage. I don't think it's enough damage.
What about like a typical like mid laner turned off laner, like a Lesh or a Pugna, or a Lesh banned of course,
yeah,
but
Lesh was the perfect
like that
pick,
would work.
But it was banned.
Yeah, it was a very common opening for a lot of teams to actually go like ET Lesh because you amplify your damage so much. But they'll need something else instead.
I think EG, what about the the gyrocopter for EG if they want to go for that for
I was thinking
right?
gyrocopter, but I don't know. I don't like the gyro versus Enchantress matchup. I think it can go both ways. Yeah, if gyro can get on top of Enchantress, sure, but Enchantress, like by nature, is a good hurricane pipe fire. It can like shoot impetuses from very far. It can outrange the gyro, so sometimes it can go the other way around.
Yeah, I've seen kind of like, it looks like teams think the exact same way, right? We've seen some teams like they pick the gyro into the Enchantress, and other teams they pick the Enchantress versus the gyro. Just yeah, it's fun. It's fun to see those type of back and forths from teams. So we get an Ogre.
Yeah, very high health, very high armor, tanky hero, can be a 3.
Potential for high magic damage.
Yeah, with especially with DT's aura.
So the downside that the part that it doesn't fit of what you want in Febi is not that much AoE damage basically. So you can't push out lanes very well, but you can just stay in your lane, live in it, not be harassed out of it, and continue to pressure that way. That's one option for the hero. And then later on, join the team fights.
Yeah, it's a natural pipe builder too, so Earthshaker is not going to have as much impact.
How do you feel about that pick?
I was thinking Void for EG might have been good for the AoE control and especially with the ET. But yeah, OG picks Void. It's okay because Enchantress provides damage. Every time you have Void, you want damage in your chrono, and I think Enchantress is the damage.
I feel like it might have been a bit of a steal pick, right?
Yeah,
Maybe if EG was going to look for it, because it's, I mean, with the ET and Marana, it's amazing. So that does kind of look like they just kind of robbed that one away if EG was looking to go for that type of hero.
Yeah, because that's definitely one of the issues with the Marana pick right now is that there just aren't a ton of arrow setups. Obviously, Stomp is amazing, but in the laning stage, it's going to be a little bit harder. Void also even good against that. If they're lacking disables, Ogre's got to get close range to land his stun. ET's got to land this obvious Stomp that Void can easily time walk. So right now, Marana's not looking like the best 4, actually.
And they might, I mean, they still could move it right now. They have Bloodlust as well. They're keeping themselves open to switching it up still on the side of EG.
It's true.
Like Febby was saying, right? Like Sumail, he loves playing as Marana sometimes, and we have seen a couple core Maranas. We have seen a couple of them in the mid lane. From I know VG played it a couple of times too. They're gonna take the gyro.
Yeah, it's something that they need. Some AoE, some magical damage.
Gyro feels a little bit iffy against Chronosphere plus Enchantress to me, though, because I mean he traditionally does get a lot of health, and yes, maybe he'll buy Butterfly at some point, but getting Chronosphere and not having too many saves on the back line might be really scary for him.
He's my favorite pairing, though, with Elder Titan. Favorite carry pairing, because you're a mix. You're not just physical damage, you're very high magical damage, so you work really well, and it provides you extra team fight, which I think that they, the Ogre might have made them lack a little bit there.
Yeah, it's a combo that EG is very familiar with. We've been seeing it a couple of times in the group stages too, the Gyro ET.
Ooh, Tiny, that looks like it's a very high potential for Topson's hero. He's been super dominant actually on the hero when I saw him playing it for the most part. Just being able to constantly run around and just wreak havoc on the map. Especially versus the squishies. Gyrocopter can tend to be a little bit squishy sometimes.
Yeah,
you do get off to a good start.
With the Axe Spirit too, I think it like just inputs insane amount of damage, and I think it can be a cool new combo, the Void plus Tiny with the Tiny Axe.
That's true. I like that.
Yeah.
It's really good with Void. It helps so much. I think Manesky was running that earlier. The Chrono would come out, and then you do the tiny tree toss, you get in like 6, 7, 8 trees.
Yeah, it looked like a really good combo.
Was that the same thing that, did Secret have that too? With the Void and the Tiny? I think mid one rushed Axe.
Well,
that game.
Yaps are still Chronosphere a few times, so probably. Yep. Yeah, there's a lot of Chronospheres in those games.
Oh yeah, you're right, actually, that's a good point. Because I remember he skipped the Echo Saber. He went Echo Saber after, but he went straight Ags, which was interesting to me, because usually it's like, you want your Echo because you apply the slow, but if you have something like that huge lockdown, you don't need the extra slow. You're going to be having that big damage pump into it, so that's actually pretty neat.
I'm expecting EG to throw Gyro in the mid lane myself, just because Sumail's typically the guy that plays it on their team. I mean, if you do land an arrow mid, even if there isn't a setup, and sometimes there can be with Homing Missile, it's a good hero for crossing the river and potentially getting solo kills if the stun's long enough. I don't know if it's going to be super viable against Tiny, because Tiny's health is pretty high, but
I feel like you won't get many last hits in that lane, though, if you're mid versus a Tiny.
That's true.
You can use the missile to zone him every now and then, but the base damage advantage is pretty high. But still flexible, right? They still can choose to move it around, depending on which matchup they do want to have.
I mean, one bright side is they can probably rune control maybe a little bit better with the Marana. And the Gyro's a lot faster, so running him down, maybe lower chance of Gyro dying.
EG's turn to pick.
Last bans here, Batrider again being banned towards OG. They are kind of lacking their 5-position hero. And then OD being banned against EG, which would have been another great hero for setting up arrows. If they throw OD in the mid lane, especially against a melee like Tiny, super easy to banish and get guaranteed arrows. So that would have been a pretty easy way for Topson to lose his lane.
Yeah, a lot of the Conquer OD bans when there's early Marana picks, it's like you kind of just have to cover your bases.
Yeah.
5 seconds remaining.
So what are they going to grab for their last hero? OG could play the Tiny as a 4. They could put the Enchantress on a 5. That could leave Topson up to grabbing an entirely new hero here if they really want to, but
there's so many cool things that OG can do right now. They can put 5 Enchantress mid Tiny and like pick a new 4 hero for Jerax. Like, Phoenix looks okay. Even if there's a Mirana on the other team, you have Void.
It feels, I think it sounds okay, but I just feel like they're lacking easy disables and gank stuff that isn't team fight, like ultimate base. It's like Chronosphere, maybe like Blink Earthshaker or Blink Tiny, but I feel like they need something reliable maybe.
And they're gonna go with Oracle.
It's, okay.
I think it's a good Fate's Edict game. There's a lot of magical damage coming out of Evil Geniuses right now. Right now, all their damage is magical damage, and now Oracle's second spell is just going to negate a lot of that damage.
And they can use Oracle's ultimate to just purge off a stun. If the Faceless Void gets stunned at a crucial moment, Tiny gets stunned at a crucial moment, remove that, let him take a team fight. It's pretty cool.
Now, I was thinking Void might need a stun, might need a save because there's a lot of lockdown from Evil Geniuses, and there was no save from OG until that Oracle pick, so they could have bursted the Void down before the team fight started.
Is it going to be strong enough to lane against an Ogre though? Like if that's an offlane Ogre, he's gonna have to slap that guy a lot to get kills.
They're just gonna go the Terrorblade again. It worked last time for them.
But now there's an Enchantress on the other side
more
of
things, yeah.
So I don't know. I think this Enchantress versus TV matchup is pretty hard for the TV.
It should be a lot of damage. If TB is disabled, they should be able to combo him potentially.
And Enchantress can just chase down the TV and just take away the illusions, crippling his farm. So.
What about the other way around? Reflection against the OG heroes. The Reflections get bashes? Not sure. Anyways, that is the draft for game number 2 here, EG versus OG. Let's send it over for an interview with Sakshika.
And we really are looking for that third game to repeat history from last TI. It was semi-final 2 that these teams met up. Of course, then it was OG who 2-1 down EG. What can happen this time around? They're confident. They're confident with the draft this time around, Send.
There's a couple of things that can happen. EG could win this game, then they're 2-0. OG could win this game, then they're 1-1.
Wow.
And then for the third game, would you believe it, there's also 2 possible outcomes in that game. So that would be, you know, if you do like a flowchart of this, it's really complicated, but yeah, you'll figure it out eventually. Okay, so I want to talk a little bit about this game, specifically the Enchantress pick that they were talking a little bit about on the draft panel, because I think the logic that EG are applying this game that makes them pick the Terrorblade again is they want a carry that, first of all, that farms really well when it's given space. EG's heroes are really good at fighting early on outside of RTZ's hero. And sure, Enchantress has a good matchup against Terrorblade in the lane, but Terrorblade isn't gonna lane. He's gonna play there until he's level 4 or 5. When it seems like Enchantress is starting to get scary, it's going to retreat to the jungle. And if Enchantress starts hunting Terrorblade in the enemy jungle, she can get ganked by Gyro from mid. That's the whole idea here. He can go deep into the jungle, he can play the opposite jungle as well. Well, probably not the Radiant one, but you know what I mean. Around the triangle with Terrorblade and have a good time. For OG, however, you have very big AoE spells and cooldowns. And if they don't connect on the Terrorblade, I just see his fights being relatively free. Like, what's actually killing this Terrorblade in this game? They don't have heavy single target burst outside of Enchantress. Tiny's okay for a while, but then Tiny's damage late game is physical.
What happens if you can't kill him before he can sunder?
Yeah, that's always a problem.
Yeah, it's like that's your burst damage from the Tiny, which starts to wear off after a while. But they do have really great combinations. Maybe this is the reason why Sakshika just feels so confident. Like, we always look for the thing that works with the Chrono. Long are the days that we just do this with the Skywrath Mage. Now we toss trees. You have Topson who can do insane amounts of damage. You've got Enchantress who can make the most of that control area too, with the impetus she can throw out. Like, there's just a lot of things that they can work with.
But I think there's something very clear in what you're saying too, is the absolute majority of the damage you're talking about is physical or physical based. Enchantress hits are physical attacks. You can get evasion against it as Terrorblade. The tree throw is physical. You get a lot of armor on Terrorblade naturally, and Void is more or less 100% physical damage too. So I think for the name of the game for OG here is play high tempo. I don't think trading farm and playing a slow game here is going to favor them in the long run. You're playing against Elder Titan late game, one of the stronger supports with the aura for a lot of damage, and of course, let's not forget the mid hero for EG also scales. It's a gyrocopter. They have plenty of in the way of late game with Bloodlust too.
And it's been one of the most popular heroes of TI9. We get our lanes up, so EG running the safe lane, the ET and the Terrorblade together.
Notel.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's a lot of damage onto Notel. Trying to back himself up. The Oracle has no real save. He went Fortune in to begin with. But into the trees. Only Tangos to bring his life back up again. And S4 copping the same kind of damage from Ana.
Notel used the Fortune's End to secure a range creep, and S4 immediately went for the Fire Blast into arrow combination with crit. Something I don't remember who on the panel mentioned this, that OG should probably look to get better lanes this time around. They're playing Oracle Void. This is also not a very strong lane, so once again, they're running the risk of getting pressured pretty hard in this Ana lane. Their mid lane is good though. Tiny is just a flat-out strong laner in general, and their other lane, Enchantress Shaker, is very strong.
Speaking of Enchantress Shaker, they're really getting up in the face of Arteezy. Fly, he did the pull, that's why they're underneath the tower. Seb's trying to get as much damage in as possible, but Arteezy, they're trying to bait him in using the Metamorphosis. They've even fissure blocked him out from potentially getting some kills on creeps, and one of them including the range creep, and he still refused to use it. He's been holding it back. Another small thing is also the ward vision. Fly, he actually put a sentry ward down, which is able to block the camp up on the top, so there's no pull for OG to work with. And that sentry ward is actually barely out of range of the observer ward that's watching the stacking from Fly. So just a fun vision game up on the north.
It's a pretty unusual play for Elder Titans to block a camp like this. But he's too scared of the Enchantress pressure with the enchant spell, and for good reason. If Seb gets like a Satyr or a Centaur, there's play combos that could give a kill on the Arteezy Terrorblade, so this way he keeps him nice and safe.
Metamorphosis has now finally been burned from Arteezy. Took until level 3, and he's got 2 points up in the Conjure image. So 7 Durex just holding back for the moment. Crit's waiting for the next attack. He's waiting for Sumail's homing missile to come while at bottom lane. S4 and Notel held him there. There's stick charges from S4. He'll get back underneath the tower.
Close call.
And has managed to at least make Crit feel like he has to move off the lane. He found the illusion rune.
He's coming in with a salve as well, so S4 will be back in fighting shape, and Notel's out of mana. He has no resources left, so this lane now plays itself for EG. They might even get the kill here if they play it right.
Be fast about it. They're focusing down on Ana. He can always just time walk this off, and he's got those 4 stick charges. Notel's gone bush, Crit. S4, here comes your level 2 Fire Blast out, while up on top He does get away, but it's Notel stunned up into the tree line. They have the damage and they have the vision, and Ana actually being given the life from Notel. That's all he could do at the end of this. He has something to make Ana's lane work.
Radiant structures are fortified.
He's not looking too hot down here right now. Both safe laners being punished. The Terrorblade's not having a free time. The Void is not having a free time. And that's where there's just a fundamental difference in these two carries. If Terrorblade's laning stage is bad, he's going to go jungle level 4. What's Void going to do? He has to lane. He's stuck down here. And he's playing with an Oracle who now hit level 3, so Notel is a lot stronger now than before with the 2 points in Purifying Flames. There is some kill potential.
Of how Sumail was inching for the rune, he doesn't get it. He was really hoping he wouldn't. Say it's a haste rune for Crit. 1/3 of his HP is up and running, but he's hoping to probably get the arrow against Topson if Sumail can just get a good homing missile off. But then again, Topson, he's saying run on top of Sumail with his own damage.
And Topson is playing this lane as expected. He's winning against Sumail. This is a very tiny favorite matchup in isolation early on. Just has way better base damage like was mentioned on the panel. But Sumail is still... He's still doing all right. Like he's getting denied for sure, which is the problem. Oh, Topson's going to go for some damage here. I don't know about that, Topson. That's cutting it pretty close.
Sumail may just have the damage underneath the tower. Topson makes a break for the tree line. Sumail can't actually reach him. Topson doesn't have a mana for a toss away, but he's got tried in 10 seconds.
Yeah,
that'll work.
We'll get a bounty rune as well, unless Fly.
He's coming over.
There's actually no mana on the Tiny.
Jirax has to stun him. This will be mana on the Sunny now. Gets 3 bottle rune charges up. So Fly, they start with the Avalanche. Seb's moved over as well. And Fly, he can get 1 punch in. He ain't no 1-punch man.
He very clearly placed the no-tail flag. Seb was staring him in the eyes when he died. Oh, man.
Get in their minds. That's what OG likes to do.
Yeah, that's one thing you can't mute. You can't remove the flags.
Yeah, see, OG understand this. They just get around it. Ana and S4 really going hammer and tongs to the bottom lane. Notel will throw the Fortune's End. Just
Radiant's middle tower.
Giving S4 something to think about, but S4 has got 900 HP. You're not getting through this ogre.
It purges Bloodlust though. It's a minor annoyance.
TC's got Metamorphosis again. No pressure into that top tower. Remember, there's no Treant Protector in this game, but not a single point of damage has been done to that tier 1 tower on top. Chris trying to leap himself away. I see Topson moving over. He's already used his combination. The Observe Ward gives them all the information they need. Topson, 2 seconds till tosses off cooldown. Crit leaps up a little bit further out. Now goes for a short-range arrow. He doesn't have another leap available. Topson has both Avalanche and Toss available.
Tops.
Yeah.
Topson minis dead. Tossin.
Nicely done, Tossin. Thanks, Tossin.
Uh-oh, Arteezy's in trouble too.
Yeah,
he's dead.
Jirak's able to get the double stun. Fly couldn't do anything to help him out. The stomp was already used. Now Fly's moving into the tree lines. He'll go for another stop, but Jirak just waits it out perfectly. This is that crisper kind of play you're expecting to come in from OG. They play their stun timings right, they get the chains right, and Ana gets to lead to body block S4 in the trees. You can slow him down once again. No tell. The never-ending fortunes end over towards S4. The stun's at least on faceless void, so Ana won't keep this pressure up.
He's getting good farm though on the void now. The start was a bit tough, he got pressured, but No-Tail brought extra regen. Crit was roaming a little bit on the Mirana, which gave Ana more space, and now they might even kill S4 here.
Yeah, feeling very stranded with no Mirana to stay with him. The Priestess of the Moon is currently absent from the throne. S4, another nuke from Ana. Actually, a nuke from No-Tail, and a bash from Ana will do the work.
Seb top.
Oh, wow. Yeah, Seb, he's low on life. The homing missile will come in and finish the job. Jirax tried to help out.
Topson ran down Arteezy all the way to the tier 3 and killed him.
Really?
So this dynamic is really interesting because the Enchantress will not be chasing him, but the Tiny is one of those heroes that can quickly push in the mid lane and start making a move for the enemy jungle. And he can solo kill Terrorblade this early on. Terrorblade has no health.
He's also got no net worth. Just to throw up the net worth graph, you see him, he's fallen from the bottom, not even 2,000 to this Terrorblade's name. ES currently has more net worth on the support Jirax.
Topson does not get the rune yet. It's bottom. He will probably try to run down and take this region after pushing out mid. He knows it's there and that there's nobody going to take it right now.
And Arteezy's going to send the illusion to deny it.
Yeah, and he sent his hero into the other side of the jungle. But now he's going to maybe get smoked out. Oh, and he dies again.
Bad.
This is so good scan from Dire. They realize it's happening.
They just follow the illusion. They put down the protection. Arteezy, he needs space. He needs time. And Topson doesn't want to give him anything. They leave an Observe Ward back behind the tier 2 tower. Jirax is waiting on the hill. Arteezy beset upon on all sides. The courier's coming out to deliver the raid man. Hey guys, I think I know where he is. He's in the trees, but you'll lose the Enchantress while all that's going on. Crit's able to get him while OG are looking the other way.
Seb got greedy. And Dolfran.
Taka found him. Finally, they found him. Drop the nukes, drop the hammer. Arteezy. They want to stay on top of him.
He's not playing Dota right now.
Fly's also in trouble in the back lines. Jirax chased him into the trees. That top fight took its toll. Jirax just needs to hit him once, and Fly, Juke it, keep moving around the rock walls, around the trees, but Jirax has towed him. It has the reach, while Ana, he has the extra life. He's getting the hit time lock over on S4. They'll touch him down, and they have the damage between the two cores.
It is looking spicy for OG right now. That is true. Their laning stage, I was skeptical in the start, especially about this bottom lane, but things are looking great right now, mainly because they're actually just...
Put the flag down, build a wall, and Arteezy can't cross it. Top lane, Seb's in real trouble in the middle of the cooldown. The attendants will not help him. The homing missile from Samel will wipe that smile off his face while Fly under the tier 2 tower. Jirax and Topson once again comboing together. They're the Smash Brothers right now. S4 as well as Arteezy, the TP out. The stun, space created, and Jirax will also leave.
OG are playing really, really good Dota right now.
And now the runes as well.
They have the perfect read on what they need to do in the game with this Tiny. I think Topson is having a huge game impact right now. Even if he doesn't kill Arteezy, he's just ruining his game.
Look what he's doing. Ana has a double damage rune. He just wants to go onto Arteezy, but the Dire Observer Ward, it scattered out the movement. So with the DD rune, he won't get the leap into Chronosphere that Ana was probably looking for.
We've been talking a lot about Arteezy having a hard game, but as far as EG goes, their other two cores are not looking too shabby. Gyrocopter almost top net worth. Ogre is ahead of the Enchantress.
Here we go again. Toss me! Don't tell the elf.
The worst thing, can you even blame him? They've like smoked him 2 or 3 times, and they have deep wards. They just keep running him down, and now Thompson.
This is his 6th kill. He's taken 50% of the kills for OG. Thompson, how fast can this guy be enabled? Phase boots up, moves through the trees, another fissure block. Jirax, this is why on support ES he is one of the greatest. And Anna's taking the tier 1 tower to boot. Keep him out of lane. The Shadows will take EG. But what can the Shadows grant them? The Observer Ward, Thompson, he actually de-warded. He had the Radiant Sentry there. So now EG's even lost the vision. And they've got Jirax right behind him. They're ready to fight on bottom lane. The Radiant Sentry. It won't even matter. They've waited out the time. The Observer Ward. Did it see? It sees Samel for a half moment as well. That's 4. Avalanche is down. The vision from Jirax. Over on 2. Call down Muller right. Thompson, they're finally going to end this 3. It all goes to Mail.
That's a lot of gold.
Back up the tier 1 tower. It is indeed. And that's the comeback mechanic.
600 gold, and now he's top net worth. And they're going to immediately smoke again. OG have no vision here, so they don't know this is happening. This is not the easiest smoke to predict, but if they want to cross the entire map, maybe it will be predicted. Okay, the top rune, Invis rune, they're not going to grab this.
I think they're looking for Anna, but Jirax actually broke the smoke. He's already TPing over towards the shrine. He understands that something shady's happening.
Jirax saw the rune get taken here. I think this might blow this gank from OG that has far went and grabbed this rune. No, Anna.
He's still under ops.
Oh, he's gonna...
And now he's going to time walk into S1 Volleycast down, combined with the arrow, put him to sleep as well. Starfall finishes the job from Crit.
Jirax pinged it out. He said the rune's gone. And all of EG's heroes were missing, but Anna still stuck around to farm that camp. A bit greedy.
Probably felt he was safer having the Observer Ward in the lane, but man, as he said, like they would smoke up from the bottom lane and not just run directly at him.
And that's space for Arteezy. They've re-established some control in this top area, so Terrorblade gets to play a little bit now.